Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and my Sunday live stream. Give a shout out to a few people in the chat here that joined me early. We had some tailgaters, Cameron D, Sharon, Life with Two YouTubers, and John's Comics with Kids. We're all tailgating. I'm starting this. Originally it was supposed to be 9, then I bumped it to 9:15, and then I started this at 9:10. Sorry, I was just running a couple minutes behind with stuff I was trying to do, so I bumped it back just to let everybody know I'd be a few minutes late. So may take a minute or two for everyone to kind of hop in. I know 84 is going live with his 2021 list right now with Jay Hood. So not sure how big an audience I will have. You're late. Well, I'm early for my pushback time, Cameron. So, I was supposed to be at 9, yes. And then about 10 or 15 minutes before, I pushed it back to 9:15. And then I ended up starting before 9:15. So there you go. Unruly, what's going on, my friend? So I'll be honest. I don't have a whole lot of an agenda for tonight. I'm going to talk about a few things that I have coming up on the channel. Talk about TJ has been patiently waiting. TJ usually rolls in here about 9:15 anyway. He usually has a hard time making it for the beginning, John. So I don't feel that bad, because I'm pretty sure TJ is going to be here in just a couple of minutes. So I've already lost my train of thought. And as always, my Sunday shows, if anyone wants to hop on and talk about anything, I put whatever in the title for a reason, because, yeah, sometimes I have an agenda, sometimes I don't, but you're early for me to start. That's right, Cameron. Thumbs, comic books, and reviews. Hey, what's going on, sir? I did not recognize that channel name, but thank you for joining us. So, yeah, talk a little bit about things that are coming up. I'm going to talk a little bit about I forget now. So this is going to be a great time. Shoot me a link. I'm going to take care of a quick share then. All right, I will shoot you the link, John. So we will. That'll take up a couple minutes while I'm shooting John the link. Everyone should be like, "Well, that's just great." Live, you gotta love live YouTube. So, all right. Oh, so he's changed it. Okay. So what was it before then? Let's copy it before. People change their names, and then I'm really bad with names anyway. So it's then they change it, and then I can really I get confused who's who. But I'm trying to send John the link. We'll see if I'm even still on when he comes in and gets back here. I'll send him the link. I might just include, just because, send a couple people the link. Send. All right, so all right, so this has been a fantastic. I'm 4 minutes in. I don't think I've said anything. Sharp Seller. Okay, nice. I do recognize that name. There you go. So 4 minutes in, I haven't said anything, but so however, I had good holidays. I've been kind of slacking in my content a little bit. Although I feel like I put out several videos, I haven't really been on top of some of the stuff. I haven't done a Let's Collect in forever. I was working on one of those before we started this, so I'm hoping to have a Let's Collect out this week. Hey, Iron Galactus, what's going on? Harassing John and having the robot as a regular guest host. I think he has to do a lot of setup. I have talked to him about it. I think he's got him in as a regular on that show at least, so that's a good thing. I can't wait for more of the Lego universe for John, Lego comic book verse for John to come on about. So, but I do have a Let's Collect. I'm hoping, I haven't recorded it yet, but I'm hoping to get that out this week. And then obviously the top 10, I've been doing every week. But next Monday, the 13th, is my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. So what I think I'm going to be doing, like next Sunday night, I think is I'm going to do a look back at like just kind of year in review thing. Just kind of go through some of my highlights just of my first year on YouTube. So that'll be kind of an open thing. On Monday the 13th, we're doing a Gotham City Chronicles. That'll be on Comic Book NYC's channel because it's his turn to host. I think Big Will and Bear Island possibly are going to join us for that. And we are doing the books behind me. We're doing Harleen. I know my show better be a bit longer than John's. I don't know how long John's was. I missed the Lost thing. I was doing some other stuff and I didn't get to watch it. So, but thank you for joining me, TJ. So we're going to be doing Harleen on a week from Monday on Comic Book NYC's channel. I know John wasn't a big fan when we did the first issue on Comic Book on Book Club. I will say the first issue is easily the weakest, and I enjoyed it enough that I kept going. The third issue I thought was absolutely fantastic, but that's just me. So, but we will be talking about it next week for any of you that have read it. So on my list, she's not next though, but definitely on my list, Cameron D. So I just, honestly, that was just an image I picked at random. It was an image I didn't put on my Instagram today. Adventure Comics 12 variant, would you invest? Adventure I'm not even sure what that is, Gregory. I'm sorry. Adventure Comics 12 variant. What is Adventure Comics 12? I don't remember. It has a variant. That is not a comic that I am familiar with the key factors of. It helps if I can type. Lee Bermejo, DC 75th anniversary variant. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know anything about that. Looks like a cool cover, but I don't know enough to tell you one way or another about that one. So Monday, which is the anniversary of my channel, we're going to do that on Comic Book NYC's channel. And then afterward, I'm just going to have like an open, like, where Sunday night, I like have an agenda. I want to talk about like things on my channel. Monday night's just going to be like, hey, let's celebrate. I made it a year. Hey, Discovery Bay, what's going on? So that is my plan for kind of celebrating my 1-year anniversary next week. So I'm hoping in the next week I'll get a Let's Collect out. Top 10 will be out next Saturday. Next Sunday will be kind of a year in review of JP on YouTube in this time slot, which anyone who wants to join me for that is always welcome. And then next Monday, I'll be on NYC's channel doing Gotham City Chronicles on Harleen. And then on my channel, after that, we will, I don't know what time we'll start that for sure. I'll do a couple hours of just open live stream discussion, have fun, anything like that. So that is kind of the plan for the channel for the next couple of weeks, or the next week or so. We may actually do a Collecting Smart tomorrow night, but Matt's not sure he can make it work, so I haven't made a thumbnail for that, and I haven't locked that in. If so, it'll be me, Matt, the Boy at 7, and Big Will doing a Collecting Smart tomorrow night, but we haven't locked that in yet. Beyond that, I've been going 9 minutes, and like I said, so if anybody wants in here, feel free to jump in. What else do you guys want to do? So I guess last week I did my kind of look back, and I went through like my big books, and then I had people on and discuss it. I didn't really like talk about like my big pickups from 2019. I didn't really talk about the rest of 2019, like my favorite reads and that kind of stuff. For me, and I should have pulled these out because I wasn't necessarily planning to do this, but I think I will since I'm just rambling at the moment. So my favorite reads. So I showed off my pickups last week, but my favorite reads of 2019 for me were Die is probably number one. I didn't start reading that till late, so I didn't read any issues until in 2019. I would say Die is probably my read of the year. I think even though it had a little bit at the start of the second run, it would make my read of the year. Other ones that I really, really enjoyed last year would be Harleen. I'll give you guys a preview of that. I really enjoyed that. Valkyrie, Jane Foster Valkyrie, has been fantastic so far. I don't know that it would make read of the year. It would be close. What else did I really, really enjoy? I really enjoyed War of the Realms. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't quite as consistent, but of the events I read, obviously, as you guys know, I've not read House of X, Powers of X yet. I kind of bailed out on the X-Men because I was mad at all the dang restarts. They did like 3 restarts in 2 years, and I was tired of it. And so I didn't give that a shot. I know I apparently missed out on a bunch of stuff there. But I've really enjoyed Marauders so far. Marauders has been fantastic. So yeah, those are probably like the books that I picked up and were reading new. Those are probably my reads of the year. Covers of the year. I didn't pull any of those out. I should have done that. I wasn't necessarily planning to do this, but covers of the year. Let's see. Probably that. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Let's go here. Probably close to my couple of them would be probably Hans covers would be my covers of the year. Let me look this up real quick. And if I grab an image, I can pop it in here. There you go. That on my desktop, and then I will drop this in real quick. So you guys are being patient with me. I know I'm like not very organized tonight. I didn't necessarily have, like I said, I didn't have a plan, which is never a good thing. Yeah, I would highly recommend Die. I think it would, to me, it was definitely the reads of the year. Let me upload. I'm trying to remember how to do this. There's John. Warning for my rambling.
I just kind of got my hair's going a little crazy here. Just wanted to hang out with you, though. It's nice to be able to have some time to hang with you.
Yeah, and you know, I do a Sunday thing, and this Sunday I didn't necessarily have any agenda. I haven't picked up any books since before Christmas, so I had everything read that I picked up by Christmas, and so nothing is new or anything like that. I've already done kind of my 20. I'd already did my 2021 list, and I already did like my pickups from last year, so I'm just kind of rambling. So.
Well, apparently I owed TJ a few more minutes because he only caught the second half of my Lost show. So
okay.
He was a little upset that I cut it too short. So,
well, you know, TJ always wants you to go longer. So, and that's a you know, a very flattering thing that TJ was.
It is incredibly kind. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So
I'm trying to remember where I put all the books I got, but did you see I got?
No, hang on. Let me make it big. Oh, first Jason Dodd?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Justin or Comic Talks, sent me these 2 books. I bought these from him last week.
Oh, cool.
This was on my 2020 wish list. So
that's right, it was. I'd forgotten about that, but now you say that, I was like, I remember.
It's got a couple tiny color breaking spine ticks, but that's about it. One little fold maybe on a corner, and the rest is just gorgeous. So very nice. At least an 8, maybe a 9 grade on that one.
That's nice. That's a nice copy then.
Yeah. And then I got a bunch of things sent as a gift from Comic Geek McD. I asked him just because I was looking for a book, and he's like, "Oh, I have," and it was a one of the Spider-Man life story books I was missing.
Yeah.
And then he sent me just a ton of great books. It's like I guess if you're gonna pay for that shipping from,
you might as well pay. Yeah, you might as well make it worthwhile.
But I was like not expecting all these great books to pop up in there, including this really gorgeous Adam Hughes signed.
Oh, nice.
Book here. I mean,
I did see that on your Instagram today. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So signed by, where is it? There's Adam. But like I didn't even notice the signature. I was too busy looking at Storm.
No. Oh, what?
I was just like, oh, this is amazing. And then he's like, dude, it's signed. I was like, what? Signed? What? Where? What? There's writing on here.
There's writing on there.
Who put letters on this beautiful cover?
John didn't make it that far.
I really did not.
Oh, I think Unruly may be hopping out. Peace, Unruly. So,
yeah, I think I've already. So I made my 2020 list with Alec, and then before we aired the show, I bought one of the books off my. And he got a little spicy on it or salty, and he was telling me that I had to take that one off and replace it. So I replaced it with So the book I had bought was the Thor issue 8 when Jane Foster reveals who she is.
Right.
And I got that for basically cover price plus shipping.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm going to buy that, of course.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you got to replace it. So I replaced it with Canto 1 because I was like, I really want to get a first print of Canto 1. I've been really enjoying it because I got a second print. And then D Comic Queen instant DMs me and says, oh, I have an extra one of those. So she's just sending me Canto 1. So now the book that's supposed to replace my 2020 list book is already gone as well. So, and then I got this, obviously, the Jason Todd book. And then I bought another book I'm unboxing tomorrow. So I'm already like 4 deep on my 2020 list. But
that's crazy.
All of them, I think, in general, Alec and I tried to make like much more tamed lists this year without as many like huge books. So as a result, some of them are like, $20 keys or $40 keys.
Nothing wrong with that. So
I tried to pick books that were more reasonable. I think I was batting like 50% last year on my lists.
Yeah.
We each picked 18 books last year, and I think I only got 9 or so. So this year I've already got 4 of 12, so I'm almost halfway. Although I guess it's 4 of 13 because I
added 13 and it's January 5th. Yeah. You're behind, John. Come on.
I'm doing much better. Although sadly, the ones that are left on my list are like some of the really beastly ones.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get any of those. So
you put together the list, and it's always a weird thing because, like, I've already had someone like you. I've had someone today reach out to me and like, hey, I have like 3 copies of one of those, and I'm going to okay. I don't know which one it is. He didn't say, but it's like one in the address to send me an AOK, and I'm like, it's not what I make. Thank you, but that's not what I make the list.
It's funny because I think it happens to all of us that way. You make a list and you're like, my goal is to hunt and get a couple of these.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it becomes like TJ dropping little devil emojis in your live streams, and you get like way more than you thought you were going to get because they're helping you find those books, which is amazing and unexpected. And
it's just like, and I had somebody else like reach out to me because I had Batman Adventures 12 was on my list, and reach out to me and offer me like, not like I wouldn't be stealing it, but it would be a really good deal for the grade and everything else. It would like, he wouldn't be like crushing himself, but it would be a really, really good deal. But I am like, I'm not ready to go there yet.
Like, it wasn't like we put up our lists with the thought of like, I have all the money for these books. I'm ready. This is not like, this is like the it's not my shopping cart.
12 months.
Right? I got 12 months for these.
Like literally, I clicked off the last book on my list from last year that I was able to get like a week ago. Like
Right.
that was my birthday present, Christmas last birthday present to myself, like here last week. And it's like
Such a great book. And that grade is amazing.
Yeah. I actually got a pretty good deal on this. I didn't steal it, but I got a good deal on it. So super happy with that.
I love how it says like Sunday right above you. And then mine says and whatever. I'm the and whatever.
And whatever. There you go.
It's perfect. I'm like, and just whatever.
And whatever. Well, we got, John.
No, I'm kidding.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, well, that's kind of what this whole stream's been so far. I
will say that the book that I have coming that's supposed to arrive tomorrow is a slab, and I haven't bought a lot of slabs in my life. But I bought this one because I posted it on my 2020 list, this book, and I'm not telling people what it is, but I posted it knowing that a 9.8 goes for, people are asking for about $1,000 for a 9.8.
I already know what book it is then.
And for a 9.6, they're asking like $400. And the 9.6 I found, so right after I posted the list, a Instagram friend said, "Hey, I got a 9.6 and I'll sell it to you for $300." And I was like, that's a good deal. But I don't know that I have the 300. Like I don't have it.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, I found a guy with a 9.6 that I ended up buying it for just over $100.
Whoa, dang.
So that's why I bought it, because I was like, okay, well, that's a crazy price. Nobody's selling them for this price.
Yeah.
So I have that coming tomorrow, and I'm very anxious to open it and just see that it's real.
That it actually occurred. Yeah.
That I didn't just get completely bamboozled.
Oh, yeah. That's always the fear. You buy off Instagram or something, and it's like, how much can I trust this person? And like, you hope that you ask around and have a good.
This was eBay. Thankfully, this was eBay. I couldn't believe I got this price off of eBay.
Oh, wow. Yeah. There you go. Well, then, at least you got some protection then. So
I do have some protection. Absolutely. So you were saying some of your favorite reads of the year, and I heard you say Harleen. I heard you say Die. Did you say Deceased? Did you read all of Deceased?
I didn't make it past issue 1 of Deceased. That issue 1 was such a dumpster fire for me, and I normally like Tom Taylor. Like he's one of my favorite, like consistently a writer I really enjoy. Man, that issue 1, I was just like, nope, this is not for me.
Because a lot of people, TJ included, tell me how great it got, especially issue 3, which was the Superman focused or centric issue. I couldn't get past. I even went further than Alec and you. I read issue 2.
Yeah,
and once I saw Lazy-Eyed Lois Lane, I was like, okay, I'm done.
Well, the art was really bad. In the
first issue, it was a special. Even people who love Deceased say issue 1, the art was so all over the place.
And hey, Perry, hey, C. Wood, thank you for joining.
There's somebody who loved Deceased in the chat.
Yeah.
Perry's like, "You talking Deceased? I'm here. I'm ready. Anytime."
He's ready. Yeah. The other thing is, like, I'm not like. I guess I've read some zombie stuff, and there's some stuff. I'm not a huge zombie kind of person. Like, I don't know. It just didn't have any. There was nothing. Not just was the art bad, and I felt the story was uneven in that first issue, to put it mildly. But there was nothing going on that interested me. It's like
wasn't there like 4 artists on the first issue? Like 3, 4?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And TJ says, "What a shame. Deceased was amazing." And maybe at some point, I'm going to get one of the things I'm going to try to do here in the next couple weeks or week or so is get the DC app.
Yeah.
And finally get that downloaded. And because that was one of the reasons I wanted to cut back on books is I just go digital and I'll read it. I may try it digitally. We'll see if I make it.
I like art wasn't that bad.
In the first issue,
it was really inconsistent. And I will say there were pages. I remember the Aquaman page where he's jumping off of the sub or the boat with all the zombies on it into the ocean, which is a beautiful panel. But then you get Lazy-Eyed Lois Lane, or you get.
I don't think that was even in. I don't even remember that from issue 1.
Yeah,
issue 2.
You get some real inconsistencies in that first issue, and even a little bit in the second. And then, but I hear to TJ's point, I hear that issue 3 was a big turnaround and that it got a whole lot better, and even made people feel better about issues 1 and 2. So,
well, see, like I heard that, like, that they got better, like 3 and 4. And what was it, 6-issue run?
Something.
Yeah. But anyway, they're in the middle to the end. It got really good, and then I heard that the ending was terrible.
Oh,
Like the ending was not good.
well,
Like,
Perry and TJ loved it. What I can't understand what you're saying. He said not Trevor Harness's best work, but the story was enjoyable enough. Liked Green Lantern and Black Canary. I don't know how you like that. Green Lantern's in the first issue, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Green Lantern is like hardly in that book. You of all people, right? Where are all the Green Lantern fans to say that that was a ridiculous way to kill Hal Jordan? I'm still shocked that there was not a huge outpouring of people. Imagine if they just replaced Tom Taylor's name with Tom King.
yeah.
People would have been freaking out that he killed Green Lantern that way. They would have lost their stuff. It's true.
And I the hot takes lately.
I was listening into Big Will and some other folks talking about giving these shows and movies letter grades because it would make more sense. And I ended up saying that I think Mandalorian is like a C.
Yeah.
So it's not that I hate it. It's just that I think it's bland. It's not everything. And it's whatever. I'm whatever about it. And I would probably give Rise of Skywalker a B or a B minus. I don't know. So for me, that's the difference. I don't know.
NYC and I talked a long time about Rise of Skywalker, and like it just has like for me, like if it had been a standalone, like I think I would have enjoyed it more. But it's the wrap up of the whole thing. It had too many issues for me. Like parts of it are really enjoyable.
Right.
But there are just too many things that are like, what are you doing? And it comes back to me of the fact that it wasn't they didn't write a trilogy. They wrote 3 movies.
Yeah.
And then they tried to cram them together. And then this last one, they tried to make work with the fact that they had 2 movies that weren't really very well connected to start with. And like, they didn't, I mean, like, I enjoyed aspects of it, but boy, it just was enough holes that I couldn't really like it.
Yeah, for me, ultimately, it's obviously a secondary trilogy compared to. Firstly, that was a great point, TJ. Comparing a comic book 6-issue series by only reading one of the books is like Next Generation without reading or watching the other later seasons. That's a great point. The first season of Next Generation isn't good, but the show is amazing. Yeah. So that's a great point. But for me, it's 3 trilogies, right? You have the original, the prequel, and then the new. And I would say I like the new more than the prequel.
Oh, me too.
But it's not the original. And I think everybody feels that way. I don't think there's anybody out there saying this new trilogy is the best. No. I think it's still a original trilogy, new trilogy, and then prequels.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, the love I've seen recently, like online and everywhere else for the prequels, like is like, what did you watch? They're so bad. Yeah. They're so bad. But
even the one that people think is the best, Revenge of the Sith, still has weird bits in it. He force chokes his wife to death. Like that's just weird. And then she doesn't die right away. She dies of like longing,
broken heart or whatever. Like the character you watch for 2 movies that like is super determined. She goes through anything. Like she doesn't care. Like people are trying to assassinate her. Everything else, she's going to do what she needs to do. And then, oh, I have a broken heart. I'm going to die. What?
Yeah.
That was just the stupidest thing ever.
Well, the funniest bit ever is still like he wins because he has the high ground.
Yeah, I have the high ground
thing. The high ground thing gets me every time. You can't win now. I'm standing on a higher piece of ground than you. You will now lose. Aha. That's like, that's it. You guys have been like flipping off of stuff and jumping through lava and swinging on things. He standing 2 feet higher than you. That's it. That's what you needed all this time. Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It's like
it's hilarious. The writing is so bad. And I remember what was it? I love Lawrence Kasdan, great writer. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, The Big Chill, Silverado. Great writer. And he was saying that right before Phantom Menace went to shoot, like a month before they went to shoot, maybe even like 2 weeks, he gets a call from George Lucas. Hey, would you rewrite my scripts for me? And he's like, you didn't call me, you didn't sign me, you didn't ask me until you're right about to shoot, and now you want me to come in and just rewrite your movies? No, buddy, I'm not doing this for you.
No.
So he basically hung up on George Lucas and said, I'm not, you can't wait till the last second and then call me to write your movie for you.
Yeah.
Because clearly Lucas knew, I've lost it. Like, I don't know how to do this anymore.
Well, Lucas didn't, like, go back, and I love A New Hope. I love A New Hope. It's like, from my childhood, I love A New Hope. Don't look, but listen to some of the dialogue in A New Hope.
Yep.
And then listen to the dialogue in Empire Strikes Back, and you can tell the difference in the writing. And that New Hope dialogue is even worse in the prequels. But like, but Lucas is not. Lucas is a visual storyteller. He does not write good dialogue. Never really has. Like, except for maybe American Graffiti is like the only time you can really say that Lucas's dialogue was solid. Like, but he's a very visual storyteller. He knows how to tell a story visually, but he needs someone to clean up the words.
To polish it off, for sure.
Yeah. Like, he can tell an arc, but it's all the stuff that goes into it that, like, that's what kills the prequels for me, is you cannot listen to them talk to each other. It's like, these are not people.
Yeah. It's the difference. Like this. And that's the difference between a producer versus a writer, right? A producer gets an idea and they can craft it, but a writer is the one that makes it real. There's a lot of great comments. I love Perry. Whoever gets high wins. I win.
Yeah, I saw that.
Seawood's got a great point. In episode 3, Anakin versus Mace Windu and the Emperor is a laughably bad scene. It is pretty damn funny.
Yeah, it's just so, like, to say that is the one thing that I will give the new series, like the new trilogy, for all the holes and the inconsistent storytelling and the fact that, like, they took a character that had potential in Finn in the first movie, and then the next 2 movies, all he did was go, Rey!
Yeah, let's be honest, they do that to a lot of the black characters in Star Wars.
And, like, all he does is, like, stalk Rey and scream her name, and it's like, what the bleep? Yeah. Like, for all the problems, the acting of Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley carry those movies.
Yeah.
Absolutely carry those movies. Like, those two nail what they're given so well. And, like, there's not a lot of cringeworthy dialogue except for, like, some of the Finn stuff.
Right.
The rest of it is not. Man, the whole prequels are cringeworthy. I'm sorry. Like, you cannot listen to them. Yeah. So
awkward and cringeworthy for sure.
Hunter Thompson says.
Yeah, there are not that many moments in the prequels where I get goosebumps and I get excited and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah. Versus in the new trilogy, there are a lot of those moments. I think like you're saying, a lot of them have Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. Whether it's the bit where she calls the lightsaber to her in the first film, The Force Awakens, in the snow, I was like, oh damn, that's an amazing bit. Or the fight in the throne room in Return in Jedi. That is that's probably my favorite lightsaber fight in any of the movies. Just that one bit where it's the two of them and all the guys in red and they're just fighting. It's like, I could watch that a million times.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous.
It looks cool, but it makes sense. The action and the way things move, the way the force works in the scene, everything about it is spot on. But there's not a lot of moments like that in the prequels. There's just not. Yeah, nobody was there to rein Lucas in. Now, you can make that comment about a lot of directors, Cameron D. I think that Scorsese has that problem sometimes. I think Woody Allen definitely has that problem. I think that lately for me, Quentin Tarantino has this problem where nobody's telling him no, and he's just going and making movies. And you're like, sometimes it's a really interesting scene, and other times you're like, this movie seems like a mess to me.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times a director gets to a certain level and people don't tell them no, and it's rare that a director stays good for a long period of time. And the ones that do, it's because they force themselves to, I remember Spielberg talking about shooting Saving Private Ryan and Schindler's List and putting restrictions on himself where he's like, I'm used to using dolly tracks, but no, I'm going to force myself to use this kind of camera. Or I'm going to force myself to shoot it this way, which makes it harder on him and forces him to be more creative. And I don't think anybody was doing that for Lucas in any way.
No, nobody was telling George no in any way, shape, or form. And, and I go back to me, the problem, there's one problem that caused all the other problems with the new trilogy. And that is they gave it to JJ that no one was overseeing the 3 movies.
Or if they were somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, who was just hoping that the writers would work it out, and she wasn't masterminding it.
That's what I mean. But she was overseeing the 3 movies and the fact that, hey, we're making them. She wasn't overseeing the story. Right. They didn't come in and lay out a story arc and then let the directors fill in the details of how to get there. Right. They didn't know where they were going to end until
I would be willing to bet that JJ knew where he was going in some way, but that he walked away and he let Ryan do his own thing, and nobody told Ryan no. And I'm a Last Jedi apologist. Like, I like it.
I like it way more than most people do.
I do as well.
I understand the flaws. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly. I just think that he took the billiard table and he just scattered those balls all over the place, and it made it really hard for somebody to then sink them all into the pockets.
Yeah. And the thing that I do find humorous, and I rewatched you guys the other night on Disco After Dark.
The 2 weeks ago one, yeah.
Or 2 weeks, also 3 days, whatever. But the thing that, now I'm forgetting my point, but you were saying about that. I've totally lost track of what I was going to say. But I really think that, I find it funny because everyone, the criticism of The Force Awakens was it was too safe. It was a repeat of The New Hope. It was too perfectly Star Wars. And then we came in and had somebody do something different, and everybody was like, this is garbage. That's not Star Wars. Yeah. And then JJ came back and basically went, okay, we're going to do Jedi bit by bit again. And the complaint is, well, it's just the same thing as we've seen before. It's just
yeah. I read a great article online about how basically we should just be able to, it was right before Force Awakens came out, and it was basically saying that any movie we get from here on out is fan fiction, and you've got to just be okay with it, because once Lucas let go of it, it was never going to be Star Wars anymore. He did his Star Wars. He did it. And anything after him is fan fiction. Right. And you might like some of the fan fiction. You might dislike some of the fan fiction. I think Solo is a bit of a mess, and I didn't really enjoy it. But I liked Rogue One a whole lot. And you're going to have some pieces of fan fiction you love and some you don't. But that's the reality, is what we're at right now. Yeah. Oh my God, Cameron D. Tarantino has a 4-hour cut of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Holy crap. Talk about not being able to say no. Where's my 4-hour cut of Kill Bill? I want to see Kill Bill as one big movie. He keeps swearing he's got it. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, again, Tarantino's one of those that just oh, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. And he just keeps throwing.
And nobody says no. I think he's got good scenes and he's got powerful ideas, and actors are incredible in his movies, but sometimes he's just all over the place, and there's no control to make it a story like there was when he was doing Reservoir or Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown. Yeah. which is the stuff I like the most. I know that a lot of people love Django and some of his newer stuff, but for me, it's always the original stuff is my favorite stuff from me.
Original stuff's the best. To me, that like I have never gotten the enjoyment or out of any Tarantino. Like I've enjoyed some of his stuff. There's Reservoir Dogs, and then there's everything else for me.
Ooh, nice. I'm probably right there with you. I think that's probably my second favorite. I do love Jackie Brown a lot. I love Pam Grier. I love her movies, and I love the love story in Jackie Brown so much. Her and Robert Forster are so good together. And I love Elmore Leonard books. I Out of Sight is another one of those movies that just I love. Out of Sight and Get Shorty, and so for me, it's Jackie Brown, but Reservoir, yeah. Right. I remember seeing Reservoir Dogs in the theater and just sweating with nervous anxiety the whole time. It was just so amazing. Death Proof. I never saw Death Proof. TJ loves Solo.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed Solo. I thought Solo was fun. Like, it wasn't great, but I thought it was fun. I will say the one thing I liked about Solo that they really did for the first time that they kind of followed up with in The Rise of Skywalker, which I was happy about, is for the first time I felt like Chewbacca was a character in Solo. Like for so long he was the pet. He was just standing there. He was an image.
Yep.
And like for the first time in Solo, Chewbacca was a character, and that, for me, maybe more than anything, made me enjoy the movie more than the rest of it.
That's a great point.
So, and that was the thing that it made the movie for me, and the fact that I came out of it. I remember my sister asked me, because I saw it before she said, and what I think. I was like, it's a great Chewbacca movie.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, and it's almost hilarious the fact that JJ did the same screw up in Force Awakens that Lucas did in New Hope, with at the very end, Chewbacca gets slapped to the side.
Yeah.
Right. That moment when he's walking back and Leia walks right by him is just as bad a slap as the moment when Leia doesn't give him a medal. It's like, it's such a ridiculous, obvious, why not moment. And then to give him the medal in the third film, I was like, okay, come on now.
I don't know why they they supposedly in the comics they've explained that, like in the comic series that Jason Aaron did, they explained why he didn't get it at the time, but doesn't matter at this point. It's like there was such a crappy
No, not happening. It's because of racism, JP. We already know why.
Oh, I know.
Racism. Oh, yeah, TJ, I totally agree. I can't listen to the Steelers Wheel anymore without hearing and thinking of that movie.
I don't know about wanting to, but I remember that scene.
Yeah, maybe not wanting to, but hearing it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think about that scene when I hear that song, but
right.
No.
Well, it's just there's a lot of those great ones. I remember there's a God, what is it? Tom Petty, American Girl. I can't listen to American Girl without thinking of Silence of the Lambs when the girl gets kidnapped. She's driving along and she's listening to that song and she pulls up and then he catches her. I can't hear that song. She was an American girl. I just can't. I hear that song. I'm like, turn the channel. Buffalo Bill's around here somewhere.
I hadn't even thought about that one though, but yeah,
there's lots of them like that. Where you just hear a song and it reminds you of something. Those used in a movie in a fun way, and you're just like, can't hear it. Is that horror movie used it, and I can't hear it.
I don't have to worry about that very often. I'm not a horror movie guy.
I tend to read a lot of. I either read pulpy, cheap stuff like crime, like Jack Reacher kind of stuff, or fantasy, or I read true crime. I love a good true crime book. I've read. So that's awesome that you read these.
Yeah.
Was that Bad Luck and Trouble?
Yes, that was one that randomly on top of the stack.
That's one of my all-time favorite ones in the whole run. Bad Luck and Trouble is great reading. But TJ, that's hilarious. Singing in the Rain, don't get me started. every winter, my dad buys the new Jack Reacher book and gives it to the like one of me and my brothers, and I read it every single. So I just read the newest one up in Utah.
When I was up there. Only through where am I at?
I've read every single one. I've never missed a single one.
I'm trying to remember which one is actually the most recent one that I have now.
I spent one summer going back to every library in my area just to make sure I could check that I had read every single one because I wanted to make sure.
I think this is the most recent one I have.
Worth dying for. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I read. I read a lot of true crime, so I read Zodiac by Robert Graysmith. This one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a brutal, powerful, amazing, mind-opening read. But I love that movie too. I love the movie Zodiac by David Fincher. Oh my God, starring 3 Avengers, because you get Mysterio, you get the Hulk, and you get Iron Man, all in the movie. Those are the 3 leads in Zodiac. You get Downey
novel like Bad Habit is all.
Ooh, James Patterson, sure.
Is that Alex Ross?
Charlie currently says James Patterson is her favorite writer because she's reading all of his like kids' dog books. He's got a whole bunch of books for kids.
I know.
So she's been reading them like crazy. She loves James Patterson.
I don't think she's quite ready for like this.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Hey Lois, what's going on, man? Thanks for John and I are just talking about random crap, so
whatever.
We're very much whatever.
I'm the whatever. And whatever. But it's JP and whatever.
And JP. So, but like the funny story is with this one is this is of course this is the first one I ever read and I was reading this on a flight and we were flying through a thunderstorm. Right as I get to like the dramatic end fight scene where like they're in the house and it's like and the killer's in the house and like and like literally the plane's like jarring to the left as like something happens in the book.
That's
like,
funny. Oh, that's funny.
So I was hooked at that point.
So you do Patterson and Lee Child. Have you tried what's it? Michael Conley, Bosch. He does all the Bosch.
I have not read any of those.
It's firstly, I will say if you like crime stories, I love the TV series Bosch on Amazon is great.
I don't guess I've ever seen it. Yeah.
It stars Titus Welliver, who was on Lost and he was on Deadwood, and he plays the detective Bosch, Harry Bosch, and he's a homicide detective in LA, Hollywood area. And it's he's done like 20 books in this series. They're really, really good. I'm on the 4th book, I think. But really great. The writer is Michael Connolly.
Okay. I've never read any of those, but yeah.
Hold on one sec. Kate just finished The Mandalorian and she's sad because some people died.
Yeah. So I never did really give my feelings on The Mandalorian, but poor Kate. Yeah. Episode 7. People were upset.
You don't want people to see you that you're sad? Okay.
Daddy, where's Mommy?
I think she's laying down. Go check.
She's not in there.
But there are other rooms in her house. Kate's sad about whenever characters die, she's very sad. Yeah. So even if she loves something, she's always like, why does anybody have to die? Can we just have everybody live alive at the end?
Sometimes it's necessary for the story.
Right. It makes a story powerful.
No.
But Baby Yoda, spoiler alert, Baby Yoda's okay. Yeah. You know Disney's not going to kill something cute and sellable.
We saw him without his mask.
All right, don't give things away. Okay, so you go brush your teeth and go to bed. We don't want to completely ruin The Mandalorian. Although if there's anybody out there who plans to watch Mandalorian and hasn't watched it yet, I think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It's been out on Disney Plus for about a month and a half now, or 2 months.
Well, the last episode's only been out for
a couple of weeks, 3 weeks,
or a week or so. Yeah. So
sorry if my daughter just completely ruined Mandalorian.
No, I think you're good.
Cameron D says, "Oh man, I feel her pain." Los, I love Los. Have you seen any of my videos? All I do is talk nonsense.
Well, that's most of mine too, Lo. So don't feel bad. So, no, I didn't really like my thoughts. I never really gave my thoughts on the Mandalorian, which was I agree with a lot of what you have to say. Of like the middle is just nothing. It's just filler.
Yep.
Like, but I enjoyed it more than you did because it was just kind of fun for me. Like, but like you, I probably won't necessarily go back and watch it. So,
yeah, I mean,
or if I did, like, if I wanted to get ready for season 2, I would probably literally watch episode 1, 7, and 8. That's probably it.
Right. Yeah, I think so I had to rewatch portions of it because my girls have been watching it, so I catch a little bit here and there. And I will say certain episodes I liked more, and there are definitely some that frustrate. Like I still think that episode with Bill Burr, and they're like rescuing somebody off the prison ship, and they're battling the like prison ship in space, and it's one of the most frustrating things ever. It makes no sense. He literally kills 2 or 3 people, and then they appear alive at the end. Like you see him stab somebody and close the doors and crush that guy, and then they're like perfectly fine at the end. Then there's that bit at the beginning when they're breaking on board, and all the droids are like pinning them down. They're like, "We're stuck. How do we get around these droids? They're so tough to kill." Mando sneaks around, takes all the droids out. Then at the end, Bill Burr comes across 3 droids and he shoots them down in 1 second. He's like, bang, 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 you're all dead. That's fine.
That's not a great episode.
What are you doing, Bill Burr? Like you could have helped your whole crew earlier in the episode.
No.
Even if he's trying to, and it looked like he's teasing Mando, like, oh, I want to see what this Mandalorian can do. You still have your whole team pinned down who can possibly die so that you can prove a point. Like the whole thing it's ludicrous and bad, that episode. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, there's some definite problems with the Mandalorian.
The first hour is so good.
Yeah.
The first episode is like amazing. I wish if the entire series had been as good as episode 1, I'd have loved it. And now my worry is that's all going to be the Baby Yoda show going forward. It's just going to be everything's going to be the Baby Yoda show.
Well, yeah, because everybody loves the Baby Yoda. So I will say that, like my sister took my nephew to see Rise of Skywalker, and his complaint was, where was Yoda? Where was Baby Yoda? So there you go. He's 6, but he didn't like it because there was no Baby Yoda.
I respect him. I mean, at least he knows what he likes, right?
Well, Yeah. So there you go.
I've never read Clive Cussler. Is he good?
I've read a bunch of his stuff. It's pretty good. This is all like the I can't even Dirt Pit or whatever series, and yeah, it's been a while since I've read any of them, but yeah, Ben put them in there. They're not bad. He's kind of not really Indiana Jones, but it's a lot of like finding artifact kind of stuff and ocean and exploration. So a little bit of Indiana Jones kind of thing, but just not same, very different personality, but like adventure kind of stories. So, but
I always liked Michael Crichton when he was writing full time. I always liked his stuff. I still think they've made so many bad movies from his good books. It's kind of shocking. Like I still can't believe they screwed up the movie Sphere, because that book is so riveting. And they threw Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman, and Liv Schreiber in this thing, and it became just an absolute piece of garbage. It was such a good book. The movie, don't watch the movie. Just don't even skip the movie. Just read the book. But same with Rising Sun. I mean, I don't know what happened. They put Wesley Snipes in that movie, and it just became all over the map. The Rising Sun is a great book, and the funny thing is he wrote the character for Sean Connery. The character's name is John Connors. Like he wrote it for Sean Connery, the book. And they got Sean Connery, and then they cast Wesley Snipes, and the whole thing just fell apart.
Oh yeah,
because they needed like a hot young.
The movie is not good. The book is excellent, but yeah,
the book is so good, and he's got a lot of those. Just really great books, and they just made crappy movies. Jurassic Park is the only huge success. And
it's not even really very faithful to the book.
No, not at all. They had to. It's funny because they had him make a sequel, Lost World, and he's like, "Well, my sequel is going to be different because different characters died in my books than in your movie.
Yeah.
Can't really follow the movie. I'm going to make my own thing, and you guys just do what you got to do."
They wanted him to write the Lost World. It's like, well, I'm going to write the book, but it's going to be a sequel to my book, not to your movie.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. I'm trying to remember other writers I really love. I do read not a fair amount of true crime. So what's the
recently?
There's a TV series on Netflix called Mindhunter, which is really great, and they've done 2 seasons, and that's based on a book called Mindhunter by an FBI agent who created behavioral science.
Oh, wow.
He was the inventor of like criminal profiling through studying case files.
Right.
And he was in the FBI in the 70s and 80s, and he was going around training law enforcement officers in different cities on how to do these things. And while he was doing that, he would go into local prisons and interview serial killers.
Wow.
And he was using that because they all wanted to talk to him. He was using that to inform behavioral science. Like, ooh, there's a pattern to this kind of killer, or there's a pattern to these kinds of crimes.
Interesting.
And he wasn't often in the field, like drawing his gun and shooting anybody. He was in the lab. He was interviewing people. He was in the interrogation rooms. So his work was somewhat sterile, but just it changed the way FBI was doing things. And then he wrote his name was John Douglas, and he wrote a biography of what he went through. And they turned that into this TV series where they have they've fictionalized the names of the characters on the law enforcement side. Is Sharon being funny?
Yeah, I have no mind.
Thank you, Sharon. That's sweet of you. But they fictionalized all the police officers, but the cases and the people they talk to on the show are real. So they go and they want to interview oh my gosh, Son of Sam. They talk about Son of Sam.
Yeah.
They talk about Manson. They visit and so they have these great like true crime elements, but they've fictionalized the 2 police officer FBI agents characters.
Yeah.
It's powerful. So I really recommend both the book and the show Mindhunters. Really, if you like true crime, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've never really done a whole lot of true crime. A little bit, but not a whole lot. That's not, I bounce around in the kinds of stuff I read a lot, but I'm kind of behind on my reading, to be perfectly like book reading in terms of
right. Because we read so many comics.
I read so many comics and I watch so much YouTube, and it's like, oh, I need to read. I need to actually read. So
you are the mom of dad jokes, Sharon. I totally agree. I've never met a mom with better dad jokes.
Oh my gosh. My Instagram every day. There's multiple.
Yeah.
Multiple.
There's a great nonfiction writer that I enjoy who doesn't do true crime. He does just amazing stories. His name is John Krakauer. They made one movie out of his books. They made Into the Wild, which was a story about the boy Jake McCandless, who died in Alaska. Sean Penn directed the film version about him traveling around the world on his own. And he left his family and just disappeared and changed his name. And he tried to survive in the wilds of Alaska on his own, and he ended up dying. And obviously that's not a spoiler because that's kind of the point of the story, is it fills in the gaps of how he died and what happened to him along the way. But John Krakauer was a mountain climber, and he would write articles about mountain climbing. And he had one of the most.
Is that him?
What's that?
Into Thin Air?
Yes, because that was like his first big story.
Yeah.
he went up on Everest and had he was involved in one of the greatest disasters on Everest, where a huge amount of the people that he was climbing the mountain with died. And they've done several sort of recreations of that climb and what happened. And it was a disaster. And he wrote the book Into Thin Air about it.
Oh.
And then later he just spends a lot of time writing books about people who live life on the edge, do things that are really out there.
No.
He did a book on, is it Pat Tillman, the football player who joined the Special Forces right after 9/11? Yeah. He was a football player for I want to say the Arizona Cardinals, like a tight end or something, and had a promising career with a huge contract ready to be signed. And he threw it all away to join the Army after 9/11. Yeah. And he died because of friendly fire in the Middle East. Yeah. And he does a great job writing the book about him is Where Men Win Honor, I think is the name. And it compares his upbringing to the creation of the Taliban. It's a phenomenal comparison, just because of the weird connections that the two of them had, his life and his passion, and then what was going on in the Middle East. And it's an amazing read as well. He's a great writer.
See, one of my favorites that writes those kinds of things is Eric Larson.
Oh, yeah.
Read Devil in the White City?
Great book.
I love that book. And he has several others. There's one where he talks about Tesla and electricity and
yes.
I can't remember the name of that one at the moment, but
that one's called Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck, yes. And he has several books like that I just love, that are based on actual history, but he tells it almost like it's almost like a novel, and it's just so well written. And
I don't think I'm getting a cold, Sharon. I have really bad allergies all the time, and when I take a shower, my nose tends to go. Yeah. And so I just took a shower and then jumped onto the show here. Because I don't get enough JP in my life, so I need more JP.
Is that possible? Not have enough.
It is.
But yeah, he's one that I really enjoy. And then I'm trying to think of the other one that writes similar type stuff, that deals with similar type stuff. And
Larson is really, really great. And I've read a couple of his, and my wife's read a bunch of his as well. And he reminds me of Krakauer a little bit in that he does he makes great analogies and connections between things. Mm-hmm. If you've never read Devil in the White City, it's amazing. And next Loest, he was a free safety. I didn't know what position.
I was thinking defense, but I couldn't remember for sure. But
I know next to nothing about football, so I did know about his life just because it was amazing. He even grew up in a town that had it was really rare, especially at that time, to have a huge amount of Afghanistan immigrants. So he grew up surrounded by Afghanis, and then to go over there and fight in Afghanistan, and the comparison, the connections were really fascinating. The way he drew it out, the way the writer Krakauer connected it was very interesting. No, I don't feel sick, Sharon. Hopefully, I don't get anything.
No, let's hope not. It's that time of year, but let's hope not.
Yeah, I got to go get a flu shot, I think, here at some point.
So you also like fantasy stuff too, right?
I do. I read a ton of fantasy. When I was a kid, anything with a dragon in it, I probably would have read. So I didn't read Lord of the Rings till later, but I read a lot of that kind of stuff. Cameron D, they did cover up what happened to Pat Tillman. And it was an interesting part of the book as well, how that all kind of came out and what happened. It was a very, very tragic event. I just read Name of the Wind, which is a really great fantasy book.
What is that called?
Name of the Wind.
Oh, that's what Thanatos was talking about.
Yeah, he recommended it to me, and then I finally now I have 2 copies of the damn book because I lost one, and then I found it, and then I just couldn't stop reading it, so I needed to get it. But that was a great one, and I have to get the sequel to that. I haven't found a copy of the sequel. I read it as a kid, but I totally forget it. it was the Sword of Shannara, I think is what it's called, and I've got that one, and
a long series, isn't it? That's like
it is a bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch of those.
Who wrote those? I can't remember now.
It's sitting by my bed. I just started it again.
Was that Brooks or?
Yes, Terry Brooks.
Terry Brooks, yeah. I've never read any of those. Those have been ones that I've considered, but it's kind of daunting to start something like that now because it's like there's like 16 books or 12 books or something. I mean, it's ridiculous.
But thankfully, a good writer will let you feel like you can stop at any point.
Yeah,
and I felt that way about some writers. Though you finish a book and okay, I don't need to read the next one.
Yeah,
there were definitely stopping points in the Sword of Truth series. I don't know if you read that by Terry Goodkind.
Oh yeah,
the first one is called The Wizard's First Rule, which I freaking loved. And they made a cruddy, mediocre TV series out of it.
Really cruddy TV. Like I really enjoyed that through book 3 as far as I ever made it.
Right.
Because I kind of felt like by the end of book 3, and then I saw the synopsis for book 4, and I was kind of like, wait.
Didn't that just happen?
Yes. I'm like, wait, we're not making any progress. I'm 3 books in, and I feel like the same story like 3 times almost. And it was just a new villain, and he's still dealing with the same stuff, and they're still separated. And it's like, there's no progress. This thing is 700 pages. No progress was made.
I will say, Blood of the Fold. It was book 3. Was that book 3?
Yeah.
Was very slow. Book 4, I really enjoyed. That was like huge things happened in book 4. I don't even remember what the name of that one was.
Oh, I'd have to reread. At this point, it's been so long, I'd have to reread it. But yeah, I gave up after book 3 because I was like, I felt like I read 700 pages and nothing progressed.
Yeah. I read out loud to my wife sometimes. I read the Lord of the Rings to her on our honeymoon. I read the whole Lord of the Rings. All the Harry Potter and 2 of those Sword of Truth books. I read all those to her.
Yeah.
I see Rena read you the synopsis for Devil in the White City. It
is creepy. Like some of the stuff that happens, like the guy they're talking about is
Holmes, John Holmes, I think is his name. That's the name he goes by.
That's the name he goes by, yeah. And that, I mean, but it's just so interesting, like all the stuff around the World's Fair and how he was operating within the thing and all the connections. It's just a super interesting story. And like,
have you been following the possible movie production side of that?
I know we're gonna try to do it, but I feel like
Scorsese and DiCaprio have been flirting with that movie for a long time because I think DiCaprio owns it. I think he bought it because he wants to play Holmes.
Okay.
I
don't know how you make that into an effective movie.
I don't either because so the book, if you don't know, Devil in the White City has 2 stories. You have the gentleman who is trying to organize the Chicago World's Fair and all the incredible undertakings that he was going through. He gets to every other chapter is about him. It's not any kind of true crime. It's more just like architecture and history and science and all these cool things. And then every other chapter is focused on Holmes. I think his name is, I think he goes by John or James Holmes. Maybe it's James.
I can't remember now.
But it's an assumed identity, and he is a serial killer, and he was using the World's Fair to lure his victims in. And it's an amazing comparison between these 2 people at the height of their careers, if you will. It's amazing. I didn't ever say anything bad about the Dresden Files, did I, TJ? I'm sorry.
I think you did, but
I didn't say anything about. I was talking about
H. Holmes is what the guy.
H. Holmes. Sorry. Clearly Cameron D. I mess up there.
But
I was talking about the Sword of Truth TV series that it was kind of mediocre. I like the book better.
Yeah, the Sword of Truth. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, the very first book, Wizard's First Rule, is
really good.
Phenomenal book. Absolutely amazing. If you like fantasy books, that's a must read, that first book.
But no, the only way you could make that a movie is you'd almost just have to follow the Holmes character. And then I think it loses so much if you're not understanding what's going on with the fair.
Yeah.
Why he's able to do some of the stuff that he's able to do because of the way people are coming in and what's happening at the fair. And
Yep.
I think it would lose a ton if you tried to make that into a movie.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if you covered all the fair stuff, it'd be boring as heck in a movie.
Yeah,
Like,
you need to find a way, and people would naturally expect it to all like come together at some, and like he's gonna catch the bad guy. It's like, no, that's not the story. That's not
at all.
It's just comparing two people who, at the exact same time in history, were doing something that had really never been done before.
Yeah,
and we're doing it on such a scale that you can't imagine. One horrible and one like mind blowing, amazing.
Yeah.
And they were in the same place at the same time operating. And that's what the writer really is comparing.
Yeah. Two extraordinary people for very different reasons that were undertaking these activities at the same time. I don't know how else you call what Holmes doing is activities, but at the scale that he's doing what he's doing, it's never that in record like that we know of.
Right.
Had never really been seen before.
Yeah, the hypothetical numbers that Holmes could have killed is it's like shocking. Like it's triple digits. It's amazing. Yeah. In all the horrible kind of ways. Even the book I just read, Zodiac. Even Zodiac probably could not have gotten more than 40. Yeah. And people attribute a lot to the Zodiac. That was a mind-blowing read too, about as far as just the history of that and how lucky. I mean, Zodiac should have been caught several times. Right. It was just bad freaking luck that he got away. And then of course, that was bad luck for a lot of people, but it was amazing. I don't know if did you ever see the film Zodiac? No. Yeah, I rewatched that recently too. I'm obsessed with that movie. Something about the way David Fincher makes that movie, because it's it's not really a movie about a killer. It's a movie about obsession. Right. Because obviously the killer has an obsession, but the Jake Gyllenhaal character has an obsession with all the codes that Zodiac keeps sending into the newspaper. Gyllenhaal plays Robert Graysmith, the cartoonist at the San Francisco Chronicle at the time, who became obsessed with the codes, the scrambled codes that Zodiac would send in, and then later in life wrote this book, this definitive account of who he believed Zodiac really was. Yeah. And then you also have the police detective, played by what's his name, the Hulk. Who's the guy that plays the Hulk in the Marvel movies?
Ruffalo?
Ruffalo plays the police officer on the case, and he's a very famous police officer, so famous that two different huge movies have used him as their reference: Dirty Harry and Bullet. The Steve McQueen movie and the Clint Eastwood, they both used this detective in San Francisco as the basis for their characters. And his name is Dave Toschi. And Dave was obsessed with this case, and it was like his biggest failure, he believes, because he was never able to solve it. And then the third character is the Downey Jr. Downey Jr. plays the journalist, Paul Avery, who started to get letters from Zodiac sent to him. And because he covered crime in San Francisco. And he made some very slanderous statements about Zodiac. And Zodiac targeted him. It's very funny. At one point in real life, people were worried that like the killer was hunting for Paul Avery. So they started at the office at the San Francisco Chronicle, people started wearing buttons that said, "I'm not Paul Avery." Like they were very popular buttons in San Francisco that people would wear that said, "I'm not Paul Avery." Like, don't shoot me on accident. Don't kill me. You want, it's very, and of course, Downey Jr. is just,
yeah, right, perfect as that. So
it was the case that ruined his career, because this journalist became a horrible alcoholic and couldn't handle his life anymore because he was paranoid about everything, constantly worried that Zodiac was looking for him. And then it was all he did in his spare time was drink and research this case, and he just became a wreck. Yeah. So the movie is about obsession.
Yeah.
And Fincher is such an obsessive compulsive filmmaker anyways.
Right.
Like he's just so into every shot looking perfectly a certain way that you feel this creepy vibe all through it. It's really a masterpiece and just a nightmare at the same time.
Well, I think we're going to call it right there. We're down to like 4 people watching.
Yeah, because John gets talking about movies and it's like,
we've just been talking randomly about movies or whatever. We're an hour and 15 minutes. So all of those that stayed with us, anyone that joined us, thank you so much. Real quick, I'll recap what I said at the beginning. Hoping to get a Let's Collect out this week. Top 10 will be out next Saturday. Maybe a Collecting Smart tomorrow night. We're still waiting if Matt can make it work or not. Next weekend, the 13th, next Monday, is my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. Thank you, sir. So Sunday, I'm going to do kind of just a recap of my year on YouTube, I think. And then Monday, I'm just going to have an open, anyone wants to come on, party live stream thing. So, and then Monday before that, though, I'll be on NYC's channel doing Gotham City Chronicles.
That's the 13th, right?
Yeah, 13th. So that's it. What about you, John? What you got coming up?
We're back to normal on the Wednesdays. We got book club this week. We're gonna try out that new Batman from Tinian. We're gonna see what's happening.
Good.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna have hopefully Fuchsia and Soldier Only are hopefully gonna be able to join us, and we're gonna talk Batman and see what happens. And then of course we got the greatest comic book show ever on the Comic Core on Wednesday. And I've already almost halfway or 2/3 done with my character video for this Thursday. So that should be dropping on Thursday evening late. So keep an eye out for DC books this week.
DC books. So do we know the DC books, or are you holding that back? You hold that back. You keep it hidden.
I'll tell you, I am legitimately struggling because I don't pick up enough DC books anymore.
Yeah.
I've been cutting way back. So I might even dig in and pull a trade. I might even do Justice League Dark. I'm reading trade number 1 of Justice League Dark. And it's great. So I might review that along with, I'm obviously reading Lois Lane. I'm reading Last God, the Black Label, which is really gotten good. Oh my gosh, that 3rd issue of Last God was amazing.
Nice.
It might be the best. I mean, sorry, Stephanie Hans, but this might be the best drawn comic book I'm picking up each week.
Wow.
The interior art is unbelievable.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. It's the only thing out there right now, month to month, that's as quality as Die.
Yes, TJ, you are all that matters. But it's 10:30. I gotta go to work in the morning, so we're gonna still call it.
Me too. Yeah.
So later, glitter and duct tape. So we'll see ya, everyone. If I can remember to hit in broadcast.